I'm going to give you 5 NBA players in the NBA playoffs right now the Chicago Bulls should look to sign this offseason. And it starts right now. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page because we do talk Chicago sports weekly. We don't want you to miss a thing, so make sure that you hit that bell. And as always, major love to the Stolen brand for showing support for the show. Stolen Rockin' Rye, an aged American rye whiskey made with raw honey and orange peel. One of our favorite drinks, the official drink of the Windy City Breeze. Make sure that you check them out. Make sure that you find out where Stolen is sold near you by checking the link in the description below. And if you're in the Chicagoland area, you can always find it at your local Benny's Beverage Depot. The Chicago Bulls have quite an opportunity this season, right? They have a real opportunity to build up their team in the right direction. And I think that there's actually some interesting free agents that can allow them to do that this season. The problem is you can't talk to them right now because a lot of them are in the playoffs. So I'm going to give you 5 players that are in the playoffs that the Chicago Bulls should be watching very closely and think about bringing in when the season is finished. Number 1 for me, let's just get it out of the way early. Let's throw the name out there because not even because just for nostalgic reasons anymore, honestly, because of the level that he is playing it. But Derrick Rose will be a free agent in his age 32 season. Now, what he's doing with the Knicks, very impressive. I think the Chicago Bulls should absolutely be looking at Derrick Rose very closely, right? Because you definitely need a point guard who can come in here and have that playmaking ability. And I think that we've seen since his time with the Knicks that he's been more focused on the playmaking side of things and making his scoring off of that. Now, what does bringing Derrick in do for the Bulls at this point? Is it going back? Is it rehashing old feelings? It's all of that, right? It's absolutely all of that. But here's the thing. Derrick Rose is not coming here trying to be the Derrick Rose that left. Derrick Rose is not coming here trying to be the Derrick Rose that was carrying Chicago on its shoulders. Derrick Rose has said that, listen, I've had to change my game. I understand that, but now I know what kind of player I am. Now I know what I can do, and I can still do it at a high level on a consistent basis. And I think that's all you needed to hear from Derrick to say, okay, listen, this guy is definitely locked in. And what we've seen of him on the court, it's absolutely showing that. We're seeing that he can still get to the bucket when he wants to, and that he's able to set up an offense now like one of the legit playmakers in the NBA. And we're talking about a guy with the Knicks even who, when given 25 plus minutes a game, was able to put up 25 plus points a game more times than not. So still having that scoring ability, still able to set things up. I think that he fits well with what Zach and Vooch want to do, and I think that he would be a nice piece that the Bulls can add. And here's the thing, he's a piece that right now making $7 million, you probably can get in here on a short-term deal, you know what I'm saying? Maybe like 25 mil over 2. And I think that it would be a relationship that Derrick Rose absolutely would be interested in rekindling, and so I think that Derrick would be a good fit back with the Bulls. And I think that if you plan on keeping Kobe White, he's absolutely an excellent help to Kobe White. We've seen what he did with Quickly over on the Knicks. Number 2 on my list, a name that I didn't expect to find on this list, but Evan Fournier still getting buckets. Now, he's had a bit of a dip in production since he's gone to the Boston Celtics. I mean, a pretty much complete role change, but I would love to get him and Vooch back together. We're talking about a guy who was able to put up 19 points a game, shooting at 46% from the field and 38% from 3 in his time in Orlando. And since he's been in Boston, they've pretty much relegated him to being a 3-point shooter, and this man is shooting it at about 46% over there in Boston from the 3-point line. So absolutely adding shooting to this team would be interesting. I think that he would be an interesting 2 guard, and maybe you move Zach over to the 3, kind of slide everybody down 1, possibly P. Will to the 4, Vooch at the 5. You figure out your point guard position. But these are, I don't know if you guys are noticing, but these are players that I'm saying that you can get and still add another piece in. So if you want to throw a couple of these pieces together, I think that it would be a good move for the Chicago Bulls. But Evan Fournier, I really like what he brings on the court. I really like his shooting ability. ability. I really like his offensive ability. And I think that you pairing him back up with Vooch and mixing him in with Zach LaVine and stuff like that, that's not something that would take away from his game. We saw him with an Aaron Gordon on the court. We saw him when he was looked on to put the ball on the floor, be somebody who could be a difference maker in this NBA. Now, do I think as a signing he's going to be the piece that puts us over the top? No. But I do think that if you put him in with another signing this offseason, he could be, or even a sign and trade possibly, like I was saying in the last video for Alonzo Ball or something like that. He could be somebody who possibly is able to come out and add that flair, that scoring that you need, that extra oomph of offense that you need to push you over the top, as long as you're able to find another piece along with him. Now, he's coming off of a $17 million deal this season alone, so it might cost a little more just to get him into the building than you want to pay. I mean, he's a guy who, but I think we're talking about a team that is in win now mode with the Chicago Bulls right now, right? So you want to get those shooters, you want to get those scorers while you can. 28 years old, still going to be able to, if you can get him in here on a 2 to 3 year contract, maybe 3 to 4 year even, with a player option or a team option, you can still get him in here and he can grow with this Bulls team, with Billy Donovan, with Vooch. And I think that you're jump starting your process because that relationship is already there. Now, before I continue with the video, I want to know how you guys feel. What are some free agents that are in the playoffs that you think the Chicago Bulls should sign? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. Now, number 3 on my list, somebody I would love to see the Bulls bring in is Austin Rivers, who's playing for the Denver Nuggets right now, who I just think, I'm going to be real with you. I don't know if I'd bring him in at point guard. I think that his ability to be able to play point guard is a big reason why I want him to come in, because you have somebody who is that dual threat. But I'd probably bring him in as a shooting guard, 6'4", and I understand that his numbers look down, right? But you got to look inside of the numbers, right? When I'm looking at Austin Rivers' game, 7.9 points a game, 2.3 rebounds, 2.3 assists. Pat, why would you want somebody like that? Look at the minutes per game. He is being underutilized in Denver, and I think that we've seen that on many occasions with a lot of the teams he's gone to, because he's just been relegated to, okay, you're a bench guy, just get tucked away. You're a bench guy, just get tucked away. But when he was a starter, he was averaging 15 plus in this NBA, and that's nothing to scoff at. And even coming off of the bench, I think you got to look at the percentages more than anything. 42% from the field, 36% from the three-point line, somebody who can absolutely score the ball when you need him to. And I think that getting him in here with Billy Donovan would absolutely be a good asset. I think that he just is somebody who could absolutely fall into the flow of what the Chicago Bulls are trying to do. And if you do want to relegate him to that bench point guard role, again, a solid bench point guard, somebody who you're not giving up huge money for. You're probably going out saying, Austin, you're trying to come here for for 15 mil over the next couple of years. You know what I'm saying? 7.5 a year. And I think that that's something that you could absolutely get worked out with him, especially seeing as how he's a guy in his age 29 season, still somebody who can bring a lot of value to a team, still young enough to get out there and be able to kick it with the young boys, if you want to say, you know what I'm saying? He's not somebody who you're bringing in that is an old free agent signing that you're going to get, you're hoping for production from. I think that Austin Rivers is somebody that absolutely can come in, give solid production right off of the bat. He's somebody who can provide some extra scoring off of the bench, or possibly even in the starting lineup for this team. And he's somebody that I think is going to be able to step in there and be a decent defender. At this point in the NBA, I'm done asking for a top tier defender, unless it is a top tier defender, a decent defender. Now, this guy, to me, I don't know, maybe he's just somebody that I enjoy watching play basketball. I'm not even sure why. Like, I couldn't give you a legit reason why I'm like, this dude should definitely be a Bull at some point in his career. But Enes Kanter, for me, watching what he's able to do now, again, another player who, I don't know what's really happened to him in the system he's been in. I thought that he would have more impact over in Portland, but a guy who right now is at 11-7 on the season while splitting time with Yusuf Nurkic. And so, listen, somebody who you absolutely could say, hey, we want to bring you in as a bench center. We want you to be a big part of this rotation. Somebody who's going to be a big body in that rotation. You're not just going to attack him in the paint. Now, not the greatest defender, but if you need those offensive rebounds, especially, I could imagine imagine a lineup that pairs him with Daniel Tice. Oh my goodness, nobody's going to be able to get the ball out of there. And so I think that he absolutely is a piece that the Bulls could use. And depending on how the playoffs end up going, I mean, I think if Portland takes a loss this season, they're going to look to move some pieces anywhere, move on from some guys, try and get some new guys in here, just some new faces. And so I think that Enes Kanter could be one of those guys to let go. And I think that he's at least worth the look, worth the watch, somebody who can solidify your bench. Absolutely. An excellent offensive rebounder and that backup center. You know, you're going to need that guy who, and I'll give Kanter credit. Kanter absolutely has offensive ability. I don't think we've seen it as much in Portland we didn't see it as much in Boston even, but Kanter absolutely has offensive ability. He has some nice post moves around the rim. He's able to get the ball into the bucket. And so I think that if you have a piece like that coming off of the bench to back up Jokic, especially with Lauri Markkanen leaving, possibly with Thad Young being on the move as well, we'll find out kind of what the plan is on that. But in my mind, instead of, I understand you want to have that small ball lineup, but I feel like our centers went from Vooch to Thad. You know what I'm saying? Like Tice was our next best set. You know what I'm saying? Like it really shrunk down the lineup. I feel like having a legit big man on the lineup is an absolute must because, listen, it keeps the flow of the game going. It keeps teams from trying to attack you in the paint. It keeps teams away from attacking you just in the paint. And I'm not saying that Kanter is going to be the biggest deterrent of that, but I really think that he could be a nice asset for the Bulls coming off of the bench, coming into the game, and somebody who, listen, has been in that starter's role, who has been in that those big situations in the playoffs. That's what you want to start getting in here as well, some playoff talent. That's why I was naming these guys. You know, he's been in some of those big playoff moments with Dame. Last player on the list for me, and somebody I think the Bulls are already looking at, so I'm really not even too worried about it, but Dennis Schroeder for me. Dennis Schroeder absolutely for me is somebody that I think the Bulls should be looking heavily into. I think that he is a solid point guard player. I think that, you know, a lot of people saying that, oh, he just declined, that's just business, he's going back to LA. I don't think so. I don't think that he's getting his skills utilized as well over there. Now, Dennis Schroeder, 28 in this season, making about 17.5 mil, a little bit of money. If you sign him, he's probably your point guard of the future. But I think that Dennis Schroeder is not getting used as well in that LA situation, because let's be honest, when we're looking at the Lakers, we're thinking about LeBron setting up the offense, not so much the point guard himself. Dennis Schroeder has become more of a spot up shooter kind of guy, somebody who's kind of just out on the wing at times. I mean, it's an interesting dynamic when players go play with Bron, because it seems like this should work on paper, this should be great, and the players don't always pan out. And so I think, not to say that the players don't always pan out, but I think they just have to change their game so much, and I think that's really what's happened with Dennis Schroeder. I think that he's just had to change his game so much that we're not seeing the Dennis Schroeder that we once saw, somebody who absolutely can be a offensive force attacking the paint, somebody who absolutely can set the offense up, that can get the plays going. And I think pairing Dennis Schroeder again with Billy Donovan, now in a starting role instead of having Russell Westbrook in that starting role, I think that that's something that the Chicago Bulls could absolutely benefit from. And again, somebody who's been in Billy Donovan's system, who can walk into the room and instantly say, okay, yeah, I remember this. All right, let's get them organized, let's get them set up. I think that really is a big help to what the Chicago Bulls can do. And I think that Dennis Schroeder, now price point, listen, you're probably going to have to pay Dennis a little bit. Like I said, he's coming off of 17.5, probably going to have to be in a similar range like that. Heck, maybe even, not probably a similar range like that because of the cap situation and all of that, you know what I'm saying, with COVID. So probably that similar range. So bringing in Dennis Schroeder, 17.5, and that's not over a couple years. That was this year. With a Dennis Schroeder at 28, we're probably talking about a guy who you're probably going to be looking to pay about 72 to 80 million to over 4 years. I'm sure there'll be some kind of option in there, but probably right around that range. And I mean, I think Dennis Schroeder personally is worth it. I think that his talents have been kind of, pushed aside down in LA. What he does best has been pushed aside down in LA. But, I think that he's somebody that the Bulls should absolutely be watching close in this NBA playoffs. but I want to know how you guys feel. Let me know in the comments below. Who do you think the Chicago Bulls should be looking at in the playoffs that they should possibly sign this offseason? I'll be down there talking with you as well. As always, it is your boy Pat the Designer back at it again to continue watching our Chicago Bulls content. Click the links here or check the links in the description below. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Peace.